You're not learning. You're not learning. You're doing. You're not doing for somebody else. You're not doing for yourself. You're doing to get it done with. Can you understand what you've lost? And that's what you should grapple for. That's what you should demand. Not from anybody else. Demand from yourself. Demand from yourself. And when you begin to demand from yourself, you will represent yourself in a different way that the teacher will also begin to give. You understand? The teacher will also begin to give. So the demand should come from you for yourself. That's where learning begins. And that's what we still do.
I think to hear about Pramod's education in the school, I think others also can share. I request Sweta to share how was her education, how did she become an architect.
One question for all of you, and I need an honest answer. How many of you have actually used the laser Bosch measuring instrument? Really? Nobody? So am I to assume that you have a measuring tape with you at all times in your bag? Because I think that's the one thing. That and the T-scale are like your biggest gadgets that you carry for 5 years of your life. So I think for us, back in college, if I were to answer, I think while we may not have had, doshis and these people, they were always there as people whose work we looked up to. And I think the biggest learning, I think for us, was understanding measured drawing and toiling it out under the sun, rain, measuring every inch and documenting it and understanding scale. I think that was the biggest learning we had. And I think for all of you also, please take your case studies seriously. Do not copy paste somebody's plan. Measure the toilet seat, measure every ventilator, ask yourself, is this much size needed? And I think that's the only way you learn. And if measured drawing is what it takes, then let that be a start. And I think eventually a lot of other ways will eventually come through.
Yep.
When you sketch and when you put it to scale on a drafted version, it does not work to scale. It does not look like the way you visualized. It's basically because you have not sketched to scale. Okay? We used to have a very interesting game amongst our friends of trying to draw lines like 11.1 centimeters without using a scale. Or I used to just say, can you draw a 15.3 centimeter line without using a scale, and then check as to who has come to the nearest, just to get that habit of drawing to scale. So today, if I'm drawing a line, I know that that line is 15 centimeters. I know that there's a particular scale associated to it. I know that if I'm putting a human being there, I know it's to a particular proportion. Okay? Get into this habit. You'll do that when you start looking at.
Nobody seen a plumb line?
Couple
Behind.
Okay.
Two,
At
three.
which year are you? First year, second year, third year?
Quite a few third years.
Okay. You get the plumb line in third year?
No, first year.
I know. Okay. So these are things that come out from your desire to do it, no? Right? Your desire to do it. They said measure it. You're not taking anything with you. Measure the building. So you will be in many areas going to sites not carrying a measure tape, not carrying something with you. So how do you adapt to arrive at that measurement? You understand? So you find things around, pick those things around, and then use them as measurements. This is what will help you in the future. You understand? Because you're creative thinking. That's creative thinking. That's not adaptation, that's creative thinking. So we have to learn how to be creative thinkers before we become doers. If we become doers, we will not be creative thinkers. We'll only be doing. like robos will do. You understand? All of us need to become creative thinkers. And keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. And keep polishing it. That's the only way. That's the only way.
The way they did the measure drawing, no, it
Your life.
reminds me
It worked for me fabulously. The first P being party. Enjoy the whole design process like it's a party. And I think it'll make it a lot more fun. The second P being ponder. Ponder about why things are the way they are. Can we change them? Question them. The third most important P for all of you, pray. Pray that the jury doesn't ruin your design, tear it apart, and gets you to pass.
I have to add a fourth P. Perform before you pray.
anything else you got to share. Now I think it's time for you to ask. No, now that entire topic has changed to
I think the biggest constraint and what I find with students, especially here, is that y'all don't really understand that all the softwares that you're talking about, say whether it's SketchUp, Rhino, Maya, 3ds Max, whatever it might be, those are only tools to help you translate what's probably and should be inside your head. And all of these softwares are meant to be worked on in a manner which first starts with a manual translation of the idea, load it onto your digital tool, and then translate it into something. We don't work that way with these tools at all. And the other thing is, these are all of these softwares, AutoCAD included, they are very, very complex tools. I see portfolios for an application sent to me with 4 on 5 star in AutoCAD. That's not possible. AutoCAD is a very, very, very complex software. And I think you all need to understand, firstly, how complex it is, and secondly, how little you all and we all know about these tools. So my advice to you is, if you're in love with technology and if you feel like it's helping you create wonderful things, what I will say is ensure that it does not constrain your stream of thought. Because what I find, especially with those who work with tools such as SketchUp, you're allowing yourselves to do what only SketchUp can do for you. So if you want to become a digital master and master of all these tools, what I will recommend is ensure that you learn enough of various tools to be able to translate whatever comes into your head. The panel here are able to do this through drawings. I am not personally able to do it only through drawing, so I am very much dependent on digital tools. But I found a way to negotiate between ensuring that my idea that was in my head or on a quick scribble is not lost while trying to translate that into something via a software. So I think that is the big difference, because we know only little of all of these softwares. So if you're interested in a software, go all the way in depth. This will take months of learning. You cannot learn a software over a week. I can assure you that. It'll take months, probably years, to really master. Somebody had brought up Grasshopper and Rhino. I know a little bit of those softwares. Those softwares take years to master. Okay, they are wonderful tools, but you know very, very little. So you're scratching the surface and you're allowing yourself to have a little bit of playful fun with it without really understanding the consequences or without really understanding what you're creating spatially. So that is my problem with digital tools being introduced at a very early stage in the architectural education. And yeah, that's the reason I feel like we're not able to do justice to it.
any other answer for his question?
I don't know which school in the West, how far west or how close east, does use computers in the first year. Many of the Ivy League colleges in America, 1 to 20, I would say, don't bring computers in the first year. Don't bring computers in the second year. It comes maybe towards the end of the second year and the beginning of the third year. So if you're going to say computers come in the first year, no chance. I've been to these colleges. So I don't think that happens there at all. So if it's a 2-year course in architecture, yeah, maybe you will get computers before you join.
What I understand is that they're more into real-time modeling at first year level. No, even not even drawing or something. They're into actual making of things. No, more understanding the three dimensions. No, and there was someone else who wanted a question.
Is it possible to make a fusion of Gopuram or tomb or a church? It's a funny question, I know, but I asked. It's to think about innovative ideas and to bring the monuments. Is it possible to make an fusion of Gopuram or a tomb or a church? It's to bring an innovative ideas or to thinking about a creative space. Thank you, sir.
But I think to add to that answer, I would say, does the context demand it?
So if we need some pickle,
No, if the context demands it, then I think you should. But look, a gopura has a symbolic representation of certain things.
so it will affect the culture or not?
It'll definitely, because that's where I say. I mean, I saw a very odd building in Japan. I don't know. It was highly fluidic, and it was like a tall tower. And then it was being projected onto us every time wherever you go, you immediately see it because there's this really huge white tower. And then when we went back to study what it was a mix of what you're talking about. It was a mix of a gopura, it was a mix of the symbol of the cross on top. It was about universal peace. Right? So if the context demands it, if there's a requirement, if there is a philosophy behind it, then I think you can.
Thank you, sir.
Right?
Okay,
But a gopura has a symbol of its own, a tomb has its symbol of its own, the church has its symbol of its own, and they belong to certain religious thought processes. And that's where I think we need to respect that too. Right?
Thank you, sir.
Any more questions?
How I need a message that relates this both thing into one.
Yes, Pramod. Yes.
You'll only ape again. So learn to be creative. Don't worry about the practical. You will learn the practical because the creative urge in you will want to make that building. Right? And you will make that building because of your creative urge. So don't worry about this duality between imaginary and practical. Anyway, anything and everything that you do here is imaginary. You're not building it, no?
No.
Right? You not started building it, no?
No.
Thank God for that.
Answers from all on the dais, I think.
Sir, I need tips to work
Okay,
it out.
we are in the food court, right? So can we get the pizza or can we get the sambar? Right? Yes.
No, sir, just like your philosophy, your experience.
No, I think Pramod made an interesting note on that. But anything you would like to share?
I think you should believe in your ideas, ideate them, work on them, and it's a matter of time you will figure a way to actually build it. So let the love for what you do keep building in you, and let that burn you and not the building.
Trying to search actually. That question of wearing a dhoti was basically to instigate a kind of a thought process, very frankly. But I think, yeah, do I need to follow my past? There's a difference between tradition and culture.
Yes, sir.
Okay, culture is something which needs to change. Which needs to change. But today, if I have to use concrete as a material, I wouldn't want to use concrete as a material like the way another country uses. I still know the beauty of concrete, and I know how it can impact my cultural relationships, right?
Yes, sir.
Of trying to bring in an Indianness with concrete, if I have to use the words.
Okay, sir.
Okay, if I have to use glass, which is a very modern material, I would still try and search for what is Indian with glass. And can I use it in that way?
Okay, sir. So why can't we use those materials in these modern days?
You can, that's what I'm trying to tell you. You can, but you need to know how do you relate it to where you belong, where the context lies. You still can use any of these futuristic materials, even in Indian context. Like Sir was talking about, what happens when you glaze the whole structure? In India, it becomes a hot space on the inside. And the reflected heat which comes out of that glass kind of increases the temperature of your city.
No, he's asking about how to bring the traditional to the current context.
Yeah, that's where. I think, but you need to really understand what is your context and how do I relook at that materials, relook at the way I use that materials to bring that context. Okay, if I'm using glass in India, I don't know if some of you saw the presentation which I had earlier where we were trying to look at light as patterns and still look at bringing an Indianness to it. Okay, so don't worry about form, don't worry about material, don't worry about technology. We are just saying that look at the context and work with that context. The materials, the technology can be futuristic. Right?
Okay, sir. Sir, can we follow the same kind of traditions, same kind of way they built? Why are we not using their same kind of building types in these modern days?
Look, our future materials is, if I'm really looking at the spider's web, that's the most strongest tensile materials available in this earth. Now they're trying to understand the enzymes which is involved there, and then giving us a new rebars to be put into our concrete, which can cut down our steel consumption by 1/10. Isn't that beautiful innovation? And how do I use it in an Indian context is what we need to address as architects.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Right?
Question is to Pramod, sir. Sir, what's meant by concept, and why do we have to explain it to our education system? To the jurors and everything. Again. What's meant by concept, and why do we have to explain it to our education system? To the jurors. And do we have to explain it to our clients when we get into our profession?
Was in keeping with the intent. So even when you have a client, you have to show the intent first for the client to understand. Right? Now whether you call it a concept or not, I call it intent.
Okay. And one last question.
You can have two more.
What's concept according to you in a single word or a term? If you could tell it to everyone.
CONCEPT.
To the first years, so that we can understand. We take half an hour for.
You asked me in a single word. So I answered your question in a single word.
Okay, in a detail. For 20 marks.
I don't work for marks. Nobody marks me. I mark myself. No, sorry. I mark myself. So nobody's marks makes any difference to me. My marking of myself means something to me. Is that a concept?
Yeah.
That's a concept, no?
Thank you,
That's
sir.
a concept.
Because why I am asking you? Yes. No. Please, listen. All of you listen. Because ஏன் இந்த கொஸ்டினை நான் கேட்குறேன்னா ஒரு ஆர்கிடெக்ட்னா ஒரு இன்ஸ்பிரேஷனாக இருக்கணும். How many of you know Lee Corbusier? Lee Corbusier ஆக்சுவலி ஒரு ஆர்கிடெக்டே கிடையாது. அவர் ஒரு வாட்ச் ரிப்பேர் பண்ணுற ஒரு மேன். Actually, why I am asking you this question? பீட்டர் பேரன்ஸுங்கிற ஒரு ஆர்கிடெக்ட் இல்லைனா லீக் ஆஃப் லெஜெண்ட்ங்கிற ஒரு ஃபேமஸ் ஆர்கிடெக்ட் வந்திருக்க முடியாது. பிகாஸ் ஆர்கிடெக்ட் வந்து ஒரு இன்ஸ்பிரேஷனாக இருக்கணும். ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ்க்கு வந்து ஒரு அப்பியரன்ஸ் கொடுக்குற மாதிரி இருக்கக்கூடாது. பிகாஸ் தென் ஒன்லி ஐ எம் ஆஸ்கிங் யூ, ஒரு ஆர்கிடெக்ட்னா எப்படி இருக்கணும்?
Inspiration is very subjective. Your inspiration need not be my inspiration. What inspires me need not inspire you. So there's no one given answer to that, right? So you have to understand whose work you like and whether that work is inspiring. I'm not working to become an inspiration for somebody. I'm working for myself, to inspire myself. And therefore, if I'm happy with it, and in the process somebody else gets inspired, that's an addition. I'm not working to say, oh, you will get inspired maybe. I'm not doing that. So an inspiration is for you to find out. It's not for me to give you.
At least for words should be inspiration.
Words have to be inspired. Again, it's different, no. If you understand the communication, then you can get inspired or you can't get inspired. So there's no way of one selling that how you can get inspired. It's left to you. It's left to your ability at that moment of time to be inspired or not. You can come back and get inspired later. You can be inspired now and be completely defeated later. So nothing is constant.
Thank you, sir.
And identity from your own, if you'd like to share, and why, the reason.
ஸ்டைல்ஸ் ஹவுசஸ் எல்லாமே காங்கிரீட் இது பண்ணிவிட்டு அதுக்கப்புறமா தான் பண்ணுறோம். நம்ம உட்டன்ஸ் டீ குட்ஸ் இதெல்லாம் நம்ம யூஸ் பண்ணுறதே இல்லை. பொம்மை டீ குட்ஸ் இதெல்லாம் என்ன சார் ஆச்சு? இப்போ ஏன் சார் அந்த மெட்டீரியல்ஸ் யூஸ் பண்ணுறது? எல்லாமே காங்கிரீட் இதே போகிறோம்.
I request Architect Manikandan sir to honor Architect Taizub sir. I request Architect Vayaburi sir to honor. I once again request Architect Vayaburi.
இந்த காலத்தில் நான் போட்டு two pieces. And the one is
ஒன்ன நினைச்சு பாட்டு படிச்சு தங்கமே ஞான தங்கமே தங்கமே ஞான தங்கமே.
டேய் தம்பி, இங்க சீனே வேற.
If you're good at something, never do it for free.
கேட்டு காலடுங்க சொல்லாத என்று உந்தன் வாயடைக்க என் மீது கோபம் இங்கு பார்த்தொடுக்க என் பின்ன வீச இங்கும் வாழெடுக்க டிங் டாங் ஒன்ன கட்டி வச்சு ஒத்தப்பேன் டிங் டாங் ஒன்னை எட்டி எட்டி மிதிப்பேன் டிங் டாங் வா கையினால முறிப்பேன் டிங் டாங் ஒன்ன சாவடிச்சு எரிப்பேன்.
And finally, here comes the second phase.
Why so serious?
Oh, twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are, how I wonder what you are. Oh, twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are, how I wonder what you are.
ஓட 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 தூரம் குறையல, பாட 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 பாட்டு முடியல, போக 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 ஒன்னும் புரியல, ஆக மொத்தம் ஒன்னும் விளங்கல. ஃப்ரீயா சுத்தும் போது ஃபிகர் இல்லையே, குடிச்ச ஃபிகரும் இப்ப ஃப்ரீயா இல்லையே, கையில பேட்டரிக்கு பாலி இல்லையே, லைஃப் பூரா இந்த தொல்லையே. உலகமே ஸ்பீடா ஓடி போகுது, என் வண்டி பஞ்சர் ஆகி நிக்குது, மொக்க பீஸ் கூட கிண்டல் பண்ணுது, சாமி என்ன பங்கம் பண்ணுது. மாறிட்டேன், ஜோக்கர் ஆயிட்டேன், குண்டு சட்டியில 2 குதிரை வண்டி ஓட்டுறேன். Super Mama, ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, Mama. Now tune change. Kaila class. Only English.
Liquor drinking is injurious to health. மது அருந்துதல் உடல் நலத்திற்கு தீங்கு விளைவிக்கும்.
டிஸ்டன்ஸ்ல 3 கலர் ஒயிட் பேக்ரவுண்ட் நைட்.
always smile.
यहाँ हर कदम कदम पे धरती बदले रंग, यहाँ की बोली में रंगोली सात रंग, यहाँ हर कदम कदम पे धरती बदले रंग, यहाँ की बोली में रंगोली सात रंग, धानी पगड़ी पहने मौसम है, नीली चादर ताने अंबर है, नदी सुनहरी हरा समंदर है, देश गीला देश रंगीला रंगीला, देश मेरा रंगीला, देश रंगीला रंगीला, देश मेरा रंगीला, देश रंगीला रंगीला, देश मेरा रंगीला, देश रंगीला रंगीला, देश मेरा रंगीला। वंदे मातरम वंदे मातरम वंदे मातरम वंदे मातरम, सिंदूरी गालों वाला सूरज जो करे ठिठोली, शर्मीले खेतों को ढक ले चूनर पीली पीली, घूंघट में रंग पनघट में रंग चम चम चमकीला, देश रंगीला रंगीला, देश मेरा रंगीला, देश रंगीला रंगीला, देश मेरा रंगीला।
मारे या कोई मारे ना, यहाँ अपनी भी थोड़ी अदा थोड़ा अंदाज है।